A federal judge halting President Biden's vaccine mandate for healthcare workers in 10 states. The decision comes amid questions over the new Omicron variant. Joining me now, Dr. Sarah Klein, an optometrist who was fired for refusing to get vaccinated. And Dr. Klein, this decision from this federal judge, he essentially said that it's better to have an unvaccinated doctor than no doctor at all. So what do you make of him halting this vaccine requirement in 10 states? They're the 10 states that sued over it.
Yeah, I think this is great news for those states and for the workers in those states. I think that with this potential variant coming and the winter coming and the seasonality of this virus, that they need as many workers as they can have on hand. And unfortunately, in New York here, we're already suffering a little bit because of the mandate here.
Yeah, and that brings me to the next topic that I wanted to ask you about. In New York, Governor Kathy Hochul issued a state of emergency over the possibility of Omicron affecting hospitals, and she's leaving the window open to limit elective procedures. One of the things, doctor, that she's very concerned about is staffing shortages. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I think here in New York, we find it very interesting and coincidental that her emergency state was declared about 4 days after her vaccine mandate went into effect here. So we lost thousands and thousands more healthcare workers last Monday on the 22nd when the final vaccine mandate was carried out, and the workers here lost their religious exemptions and they lost their ability to test out. So, yeah, I think the timing's really interesting. It may or may not have to do with this variant. I think it has more to do with the fact that the hospitals here are severely short-staffed.
Wow. All right. When I saw this number, I could not believe it. The number of healthcare workers who were fired or placed on leave due to the vaccine mandate, about 34,000 people. And you say in the hospital that you worked at in Rochester, it lost between 1,000 and 2,000 employees. How does a hospital operate after losing that many people?
I mean, it's tough, right? So they're going to be repurposing people. I think that this whole idea of declaring that we may need to discontinue elective surgeries for a time is just some possible way that they can deal with the staffing shortages. And the sad part is it's just so unnecessary.
Yeah, I was also reading that in Long Island, an emergency room was forced to shut down. Same reason, because they don't have enough doctors and nurses there because so many people decided not to get vaccinated. It's so unfortunate because, just like you, these are good doctors that no longer can work. The other side of the argument, and I'm sure you've heard this so many times, is that people who are for this vaccine mandate on healthcare workers say that you guys work with the most vulnerable population. So what is your response to that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hear that argument. I just want to say that I think we've learned enough now about this vaccine to understand that it really does not prevent transmission and it doesn't prevent infection. And so to single out unvaccinated workers and say that we're the only possibility of spreading to the patients is just not true. And we wear proper PPE. Everyone is masked in New York State when they work in a healthcare facility. We're constantly washing our hands, sanitizing. I don't think it's a real issue.
Yeah, well, this vaccine mandate has been paused for now in 10 states. New York isn't one of them, but we'll see if it has implications for the rest of the country moving forward. Dr. Klein, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.